For more on the reopening of Florida, we're joined now by former State Attorney General Pam Bondi and State's Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronus. Mr. Patronus, we're going to begin with you. You all, by the way, you're serving on the governor's new reopening task force, so I'm glad to have you here. Want to start with you. What is the approach going to be for phasing in the opening of different businesses, industries across Florida?
So the task force met earlier today, and it's a great task force, capable people from all over the state. The governor's assembled together. But as we're culminating all this data together to try to push out best practices, it's going to be a little bit of a process. The governor's going to have to compute all this data, ultimately make a decision, and then you have to still have a timeline to be able to allow the businesses to go out and secure the necessary signage, PPE, or whatever have you that's required by health professionals to get our economy open. But look, we're taking this step by step. But as I know, as I'm watching the state's tax dollars, I'm incredibly concerned. We are down $1.3 billion just in hotel revenues in the last 30 days. We need a set of standards in place to protect Florida's economy.
Ms. Bondi, these regulations, as they're easing the restrictions, are these opening conditions, are they going to be guidelines or are they going to be mandates? And the reason I ask that is because across this country, there are signs that left-wing extremists out there who are in elected office are abusing their offices to settle political scores. What is your understanding first? Are they guidelines, are they mandates? And then comment on what we're seeing around the country from the left.
Well, I think reopening is on a state-by-state basis, and the president, it's a top priority for the president, and it's a top priority for Governor DeSantis. So we're very blessed in Florida. You know, you have to look at the safety and the health of all Americans, but as well as what CFO Patronus just said, a safe, good economy, a healthy economy. So you've got to balance liberties with the needs to protect Americans. And, you know, decisions are going to be made on a state level. And I think you were talking about that governor in Michigan who was a disaster, keeping everybody at home, telling them they couldn't do anything. That's not healthy for anyone. But governors are empowered. And right now, I think 20 states are opening phase one of Reopen America. Florida's one of them. Governor DeSantis is doing a great job with CFO Patronus and so many others that he's put on this. But, you know, there are enough tests right now for every state in phase one to start the reopening process.
Yeah, Mr. Patronus, let me kick that back to you. Are they guidelines or are they mandates coming out of the state?
Well, there'll be some mandates you'll have to have in order to meet some health standards. But to Pam's point, and I can't just tell you, the state of Florida misses Pam. We wish we had her back here again. But, as states like Michigan and New York and Connecticut continue to prosecute their citizens, the state of Florida has had thousands of people every single week move here. They move from high tax states to low tax states. They move to states that they can enjoy life. And you know what? There's nothing that you could pay me that would make me want to move to Michigan or move to New York or New Jersey. Their fiscal house is a train wreck, and their financial problems that they have created is their own, not the federal government's, not the state of Florida. So we're going to get our act together to make sure that the safety of our citizens and our businesses are in place so we can continue to do business in the greatest state in the whole United States.
Yeah, Pam Bondi, let me get you to comment on how the press has covered the coronavirus. Do you think that they have been fair to all the states that are trying to reopen right now?
Of course they have not been fair, nor have they been fair to the protesters. You know, protesters, they have a right to protest, especially in places like Michigan, but they do need to keep a safe distance from each other. But no, the press has not been fair to President Trump, nor have they been fair to the American people overall at all in this situation. You know, and when we talk about mandating situations, Chris, it's CDC guidelines, and hopefully Americans are going to be smart enough to follow Dr. Fauci, to follow the vice president, to follow the president's lead, to follow Governor DeSantis's lead. But it's going to depend on a lot of different things. Antibodies, whether we have those now and in the future, rapid testing, the PPE that we talked about, and effective treatment protocols, and a mass-produced vaccine, which we know is down the road. But all that can be done on a state-by-state basis because every state is different. And just like the CFO said, in Florida, we have beautiful beaches. And as our governor said, people need to be out walking on those beaches. And you saw Jacksonville, Florida, Lenny Curry, Mayor Curry, opened up the beaches, not for sunbathing, not for kids hanging out, but they did it so people could walk on the beach and get exercise every day.
Yeah, and exercise, we're told by all the medical professionals, is important. Mr. Patronus, you mentioned why folks go to the Sunshine State, to Florida, because of the low taxation. And a lot of those folks are elderly, a target group for the China coronavirus. What special steps is Florida taking to guard their seasoned citizens there?
Well, the great thing about it is right now there's about 623 of our ICU beds are in utilization right now. We have excess availability of beds in the state of Florida. We ramped up, we were prepared with even if field hospitals if need be. So as we have been aggressively dealing with this and look, taking non-essential surgeries and delaying them has created flexibility in our hospital system. But we have weathered this storm in a way that is a tribute to the leadership of Governor Sanders and his team. So again, we have got a hospital system that is able to handle those challenges, but also ensuring what people are doing, following the CDC guidelines, just like Pam alluded to. Look, there's practices we've got. It's a different day. It is a different day. I'm a hugger. I love to hug everybody I see. But you know what? That's not what we do anymore around the state of Florida. We're going to just, wave and say hello and welcome to our wonderful beaches and our sunshine. But we've got to take care of the health and welfare of our citizens and abide by some guidelines.
And Chris, as to what the CFO said, I'm sorry. As to what the CFO just said about
No,
hospitals,
go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, that's been so important, but we do have to look forward, and I know the governor we have to go forward and look forward to reopening our hospitals for non-essential surgeries. Our hospitals are struggling now. They're struggling financially, everything, but we know what's important. And in Florida, we have great leadership where we're able to create that balance and slowly reopen our economy for the benefit of our state. And that's why we're so blessed to live in our great state.
Understood. About 20 seconds left. Mr. Patronus, if you could just give me an indication, if the trends hold, and Deborah Birx of the Coronavirus Task Force says that you guys are using data very well out there in Florida. If the trends hold, how soon until Florida is completely reopened?
Well, hopefully we got some protocols to review by the first of next week, and we have some decisions that will allow maybe a target date of, I would love to be open before the 15th of May. But we've got a lot of problems that have been developed because of COVID-19. There's a liability that has got to be held accountable with China. There's so many moving parts, but right now getting our economy open in a safe manner is something that we're laser focused on.
Pam Bondi, Jimmy Patronus, thank you guys. Appreciate the time on the Salcedo Show.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing news channel, now in 65 million homes. Get Newsmax TV on all the major cable systems or go to newsmaxtv.com and click on the Find Newsmax tab to locate us. Remember, Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.